Hello, everyone. This is Love+RELO. I'm Janaína Jazanowski. I'm your co-host. I'm from Rio, and welcome, Ben.
Hey, Janaina, how are you doing?
I'm great, fantastic.
I'm fantastic too. I'm super excited. It's Thursday. You're in Rio. We got people in Colombia coming joining us today. We've got amazing people who've been checking in all week. People have been sending us tremendous outreach and just messages saying how much they've appreciated Latam week, including Brazil. And it's just been really nice to be a part of it. And I can't thank you enough, Jenna, for putting this together and for leading the charge here in the region. And it's just been a real blessing to be a part of it. So thank you so much for doing this.
No, I'm the one that it's really thankful, seriously, for you to uh, open the doors of your place for us, to accept the idea, to be so welcome. It's been really exciting. A lot of feedbacks. It's so awesome to see people that are just being really excited and saying thank you for the opportunity, and everyone they're connecting with us. So it's been a great week. I'm really excited and thankful.
Yeah, it's been awesome, and I've met so many new friends, both in guests and also just people who have been checking in. It's been great. I have this long distance relationship going right now with
Oi,
Genoveva.
mãe!
Yeah, I'm very excited to one day meet her. Maybe I don't know, but so far so good. So thank you so much for getting involved and leaving these wonderful
She's
comments.
awesome. I need to tell you this. It's really funny because she I told you guys she doesn't speak English. So she's just trying. She said that she's gonna learn now. And she's sending the videos to her friends and everyone. It's so cute. Love you,
This
mom.
That's so wonderful. So yeah, so if you're watching right now, go ahead and leave something in the comments. Shout out your company. Let us know where in the world you are. If you have questions for our wonderful guests, please let us know. We'll make sure we get to them. I'm going to be working the comments and the chat, so just kind of keep it coming over there. Shauna, I'm going to let you handle the important stuff and all the good questions. And I think together we should have a great show today.
Sure you
We got
do.
Tim Quirk checking in. Hello, all from beautiful West New York, or West New York, USA. Yes, Tim, that is correct. Nobody knows what WNY means. So please, thank you. Also, if you're watching right now, we got 7 people on LinkedIn. We've got 3 people on Facebook. Hey, if you're watching on LinkedIn, do me a favor. Please reshare this right now because the last couple of days, LinkedIn alerts has not been going out, and so just please go ahead and share this right now so people know that we have a wonderful guest today. And Janaina, why don't you tell us a little bit about our guest?
Okay, so today, as we are talking this week, we are having Latam, including Brazil, but today we have a guest that's coming from Colombia. This is awesome and really exciting. She works with global mobility. She has an experience of being an expat and in the mining industry. So I'm sure we will have great information. She will bring us a great view and from global mobility in Latam. So I'm really glad to introduce our guest for today, Silvia Rivas.
Hola, Silvia.
Hello.
Hello, hi everybody.
Hello. Please be welcome. We are really glad. Thank you so much for accepting our invitation. And it will be amazing to know more about your whole experience in the mobility and the perspective from Colombia.
Yes, well, thank you very much for having me on this show. We are very happy to be here.
We are
Yes.
really happy for having you with us. So people are checking in. Make please,
Yep.
guys,
Let's see who
send
we got
questions.
here.
Say where you guys are coming from.
Yeah,
How cute.
Marina coming in. Hi, Ben, Jana, and Genoveva. Yeah,
Awesome, Marina. Hello.
Marina was on yesterday. That's fantastic. Lais,
Hi, Lais.
look at this. Fernando.
He will be with us tomorrow.
Yeah, we got a fun show coming up. There might be a little bit of cachaça going around. I don't know. Tomorrow, let's see here. Oh, there's Gabriella.
Hey, Gabi.
That's great.
You see,
Wonderful.
our whole Latin family are with us. So awesome. Hey, Rob.
Nice. Rob's checking in. Fantastic. Regards from New York City. A very formal hello.
Hi
All right.
guys.
This is great. We got Vanessa checking in.
Hi Bunny.
Look at this. Viva Latam. Michael Quigley.
Woohoo!
Everybody's checking in. This is great. People are coming in on LinkedIn. Phenomenal. All right.
Awesome.
Atlanta checking in. Well, without further ado, let's go ahead and hop into it here.
Of course. So, Sylvia, tell a little bit about us. If we did our research, we know that you have experience in more than one country and 10 years of experience with Mobility International HR. So, tell us a little bit how you are now in Colombia and how long have you been in Colombia?
Okay. Well, I was born in and raised in Venezuela, but my parents are from Colombia. So as soon as I finished university back in Venezuela, I graduated. I studied industrial relations, and then I decided. I worked for 3 years for DHL, and then I decided that I wanted to learn English. So I went to Vancouver, to Canada. Only it was going to be for 1 year, and I ended up being there for 15.
Wow.
Well, how does that happen? You go for 1 year and you stay for 15.
Yeah, so it was, I felt in love with Canada. Canada opened all my, the doors for a lot of good opportunities. And I applied as a landed immigrant. I got everything. And then I started to work in Canada, and then I got married. And so I was there for 15 years. And yes, I worked for different companies. I was in the hospitality industry at the very beginning, and then I moved to the construction industry. I worked for a big company called Acciona, and this is when I started in global mobility, because what happened is that they will build infrastructure, bridges and hospitals and schools and everything, and they will bring people from different places, usually from Europe, from Ireland, most of them, and from England, and from Spain, of course, because it's where the head office is. So this is where I started in global mobility. I fell in love with that because I really liked how, like the interaction with people from other places. And I have been in global mobility for 10 years. And then I moved to mining. Mm-hmm.
Do you think, Sylvia, I have a question I'd like to ask. Do you think that your experience as an expat, falling in love with Canada, falling in love in Canada perhaps, informed your desire to be in global mobility and the way maybe that you handle it and the way that you approach it?
Yeah, because I never thought that this career will be, that was something that is in human resources. So I was thinking, well, I never thought about, somebody who can help the expats. And because I had the experience moving from one country to another one, and I lived a lot of things, I said, well, this is, this is nice. This is perfect for me. This is something that I like, and I understand because I lived the immigration portion, and I lived the cultural portion, like moving and the shock. Because if you think about it, when you move to another country, everything changes in your life. Like family, you have friends that change it all, education, careers, social activities, all the things that you do, even spiritual and wellness. Everything changes. Financial planning as well. Your accommodation, your amenities, everything in your life. So you have to pretty much start from zero. Even though I had friends in Canada, but they made my life very easy. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We've got a great question here that's about this topic, and so I just want to ask it now. It's from my friend Lyndon Hotby here in the States. Sylvia, what was the hardest part of moving from South America to Canada?
Well, I think I'm leaving my family behind. It was not easy, and I start from zero because once you graduated and you have your experience and you have work, you get to another country, you don't speak the language, and you have to start from zero. And in HR and human resources, like legislation, the law is different. uh, a lot of things, the way that people do resumes here in South America are completely different than in North America. And I can still, like feel in shock. I have been here for 3 years, but for me to see a resume with a picture with all these details, like, married, the names of your kids and your wife and all these little details, that I am like, this is too much, like. And the cultural thing is hard, but yeah.
So,
Hmm.
so I'm sorry, you mentioned the resume portion, and I'm sorry, I just want to go down this rabbit hole just for a moment. I want to understand this. So what are some of the key differences between a resume in South America and in Canada?
Oh well, uh, all the details. People put, like things that they do on your free time, and all the education, the years of everything, and the address is a complete new, with all the details about the address. As I said, like it has a picture with even, like some people put the passport number, the ID of the country. I have been, like getting, well, since I started working in global mobility and in recruitment, I get a lot of emails from people in South America, and we recruit them. But all the details about everything,
Wow.
things that you don't need to know. It's not anything about career and about profession. It's, like it's a personal thing that like I respect now the space about all these questions. That it's incredible that here in South America are still, being important.
Wow,
And
interesting.
what was the hardest to adapt when you moved from Venezuela to Canada, or now that you mentioned 3 years, now that you moved back to South America to Colombia, it's a new country, but where was the hardest to adapt?
Well, I haven't mentioned something. When I was working for this mining company in Vancouver, I got relocated to Fort Lauderdale. So I
Oh,
was there for 3 years. And that was another experience, which was very, very good. Closing the Vancouver office and opening the Fort Lauderdale office from zero with everything. And I was there for 3 years. So being in North America for 18 years in total, and having the experience of, like living in a beautiful place like Vancouver, and then moving to Fort Lauderdale, which was an amazing opportunity because, it's close to everything. We got to travel everywhere. And then coming here, at the beginning, I was, like doubting about how I could live again in South America. But let me tell you that I am very, very happy. Quality of life here is very, very good. I don't miss anything. Like even like if you think about products or things, like I don't know, I like quinoa, for example, and you find it here. You like I like matcha. I find it here. So you name it, like things that I would think, oh my God, I'm going to miss that. I am not going to be able to find it in Colombia. Is here. So I am very happy. And you find a lot of people doing services for you, any kind. So you get, to give you details, you get the milk on on your door. You get, like if you want to buy any groceries, people can come and wash your car here in the building. Like a lot of things that you don't get because I was not used to it. after, like people who can come and clean your shoes, like all these little things that you see, for example, in the office. It's very common that you have somebody who goes and clean the shoes for the executives.
Oh my
And
gosh.
and this
I
guy
love it.
would go every day. And I was thinking, wow, like this is those little details
Oh
that
my gosh. Sylvia, first of all, time out.
Keep
Okay.
moving.
No, a shoe shine. We call so we call it shoe shines. I don't know if that's the same service you're
yeah,
talking
yeah,
about.
that's how
But shoe shines are one of the very few pampering joys of a man's life. Okay, and I mean, y'all get to go get your nails done, you get massages, you get your pedicures, and they rub your feet and everything. It's the only time we ever get a foot rub. The only time we ever get a foot rub. Okay, so
yeah.
I mean this magical. So basically, you're telling me I need to put a resume with my picture on it and send it to you. And then I get it, and then I get shoe shines for life. That's what you're telling me.
Yeah, and you see them everywhere here
Fantastic.
in downtown Medellin. So they work, and this is what they do. They go to the buildings, and you see, like ladies that they sell fruits, for example, in the office. So these little things, you don't have it in North America. At the same time, I tell you something funny that it shocks me a little bit at the beginning, is that you see people cleaning the office during business hours, which is not normal in North America. We don't have that.
Oh, yeah, here in
So,
Brazil.
yeah, so you are in the middle of something, and here's someone comes, like with the broom, and they want to clean. And what do? You just get up and do something. Go and visit your, I don't know, talk to your coworker for a little bit, grab a coffee, and wait for 10 minutes. So that, and then the smell, that's something that you don't get in North America, because you don't smell of all these cleaning products. Like some people, they have allergies and things like that. And here it's very common. If you don't like the smell, like go out for a little bit and come back.
It's the
And
time for a coffee.
yeah. So those are the things that are fun, are very different from here. The same as the perfumes. In the morning, oh wow, you see, like you're in the office with 120 people, and you see any kind of perfumes. And people before noon, they go and they go for lunch. And in the middle of I don't know, 10 o'clock in the morning, anytime. And this is something that you never see in North America. Like I had to many times in Canada to stop, to talk to employees, to tell them to please stop wearing perfume, not even roses or flowers, because some people, they have allergy. But here, no, it's very common.
People smell good. I hope.
Yeah.
This is great. I love hearing about this. I feel like I'm being transported to Colombia right now. This is fantastic. We're going to get into some real relo questions here, but I want to check in. I want to first, before Jana gets into some real relocation questions, I want to go ahead and just check in with everybody that's coming in here. We got 22 people on LinkedIn right now, about 7 people on Facebook. That's great. Brian Rivers from First Tech Federal Credit Union. Hey, Lisa Thomas checking in. Stephen Hoffman, Viva la Colombia.
Viva.
Francine Dresty, hi from St. Louis. Molly Feldman, this is great. We got some questions coming in, hopefully, as well. Hey, by the way, if you're watching this, please ask questions of Silvia. She will tell you everything you need to know about shoe shines, perfume, and global mobility in Colombia. Tim Quirk says, I moved to San Diego, California for 1 year, and I stayed 15. Yeah, that's right.
See?
Yeah, Molly Feldman, happy birthday week. Look at it. People saying happy birthday. It's fantastic. Hey, there you go. Checking in. That's great.
Hi, Daddy. That's my best friend. I love her.
Oh, that's nice.
Hey, this is my brother from my exchange program. Hi, Luciano. It's my people.
This is great. This is wonderful. Hello to Sylvia. I'm in Vancouver and had the pleasure to meet her and her husband.
Herman. Yes. How are you, Herman? Nice to see.
Isn't that fun? Look at
Yeah.
that. Sylvia, do you have a better work-life balance now in Colombia than you had in the States?
Yes. Let me tell you that, yes. Um, well, I live very close to the office, and it makes my life easier. But yeah, I would say that people here on the weekends, they you have a lot of things to do, and during the week too. Even though when people here, they have the tendency of not leaving the office if your boss is still around. But I feel free to just go to be very
I'm
honest.
sure you are the boss.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, but yeah, I consider that yes. Mm-hmm.
What kind of visa would I need if I came for a shoe shine? Just throwing that out there. You just think about that question. I don't know.
Hace
Steven asked,
frío en Canadá, ¿no? Yes, yes, un poquito. Yes, Vancouver, it rains a lot, but yeah. Mm-hmm.
there
Yeah.
you go. Checking in from Dubai. Hi, Mena. Always checking in. We got a spell check. Thank you, Herman.
Yeah. I was going to say that, but everybody says Colombia. Everybody.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's us Americans.
That's-
Let's see. Colombians are very particular. Yes.
yeah.
Fernando says everyone smells good.
That's
That's good.
awesome.
Thank goodness. All right. Well,
So,
wonderful. Go ahead, Jana.
so you were mentioned this whole cultural diversity and the difference, but in global mobility, how you see the difference on the policies or benefits when you actually we can compare Canada, uh, Florida, and South America and Colombia. What is there a big difference? What is the things that most come to your mind when you think on the difference related to the policies and benefits?
Well, the thing is that the domestic portion is different, right? I find that for example, there is a lot of um, cross country mobilizations in mobility in Canada, between Canada and the States. And here it's not that easy, because here, even though you see that Colombia is next to Venezuela, to Brazil, to Uruguay, to Chile and Argentina, but it looks like every country is a completely isle, and it's
Yes.
very, very different. So it's not easy. For example, I remember when I moved to Fort Lauderdale, you had the option to bring your car if you want, and it's simple. But here, even though, like I have moved people from Brazil, and it's not easy. It's not like, oh yeah, I'll bring my car to Colombia. It's next door, so it's easy.
No.
No. So everything is complicated. The regulations are different. So this is what I would say, that is not as easy as it would be between Canada and the States. And that's the main thing. And there are some tricky things about Colombia that are, it doesn't make it very easy for people to come, or to want to come here. Um, for example, there are not many relocation companies to start with.
Hmm.
It's not very, like not very easy. And I was surprised. I attended last year the CERC conference in Toronto, and I would talk to most of them, and they don't have many offices here in South America. They don't work. They have Silva in Brazil, but
Yes.
they don't have many offices in. And I was telling them that it's a big business. You're missing out all these good opportunities, because, if I think about it, Colombia is full of expats. It has a lot of people in the mining industry, in the oil industry, and yeah, you see them everywhere. Like walking around, but there is nobody who can help them. Like 100% with, and even if they have a good, if they have a company, the presence is in Bogota, which is the main, like the capital of Colombia, but they don't have any presence in other cities. So I would say that that's the main difference between policies in North America and here because we have to be more flexible here with certain things. It's not by the, by the rule. how is everything.
Maybe now with this week, now everyone is gonna realize that it's exactly as you said. Like everybody has the impression that everything is so close, so anything we can just have one office in Brazil that can take care of everything or in one place. And now with this Love and Reload week, everyone will realize that there's a lot of business down here, and
Yeah,
we will have people coming from to Colombia and all that.
yeah,
You're
yeah.
you're absolutely right, Jana. Because I mean, I think as a US based person, right? I think we see the world in terms of regions, right? And we say Latam. Where's my Latam office? Okay, I'll put it in Sao Paulo or I'll put it in Rio or whatever, right? And I check the box and I say, okay, I now have an office in the region, right? And here to come to find out, you know, uh, Brazil may not even be part of Latam. First of all, okay. First of
Exactly.
all, second of all, Sylvia needs support and she's in Colombia. And oh, by the way, not in Bogota, in Medellin, right? And
Mhm.
so it's like she's looking for local support. I mean, I'm assuming this means DSP, this means immigration, this means, expense tracking and management of caseloads and assignees. And I guess I'd like to ask the question as from a service provider perspective, because whenever I hear that there's companies that don't necessarily feel like there's a support network in place, I see that as an opportunity. And so I guess my question would be, what types of services do you think that service providers who are watching this might be able to come in and explore Colombia and say, you know what, there's a real need for XYZ types of services?
Well, I would say that destination services is a good one. Immigration, you can find, of course, but the thing is that when you have an international company and you need to deal with other places, like with other head office, other different. For example, right now we have a situation. The company that I work for was bought by Zijin Mining Group, and Zijin is based in China. So right now, what happened is that like timing and everything has to be um, everything adjusted with the time zones and everything. And people who knows immigration here for Latam people and for Asia is not easy to find. You will find people who knows about Latam and you will find people who knows about Asia, but you cannot find like a company who can do both or who can speak the language as well because it's very hard. So that's when like when you think about it and you say, wow, you know to have a company who can do different regions um, and include Latam, it will be perfect.
You see,
No,
business, business, business.
yeah, there's opportunities for sure, and Francine actually has a follow up to that. Great question, Ben. Another question, Sylvia, is why do you believe those services aren't there already? Why is that infrastructure not in place?
Well, they have companies here, but they are small companies and they don't have competition. That's the thing. So the big companies, but I am used to the States and in Canada, right? That you raise your hand and you want something and you have like 20 providers. But here it's like two, three, maybe four if you're lucky. So like I am spoiled. And
Yeah,
this is why, when I came here, I was like, well, what is this? How come, like people, they haven't thought about opportunities in Latin America. If you think about it, Chile and Peru, they have amazing opportunities in the mining industry. Chile is very well known about mining. And all the time that I have been in the mining industry, we relocate people from Chile and from Peru. And yeah, so there are treaties, between countries and things and how to bring people, but not much about companies who can help in South America.
So you mentioned about the mining industry, and I don't know if everybody understands. Could you give us details about what is the profile of your expats? Which type of assignees you bring to Colombia?
Well, Colombia had a boom in mining um, for the last 3 years. So a lot of companies are coming from other parts of the world to invest in Colombia, and there is no much talent here. We have so we have to bring people from all over, but the language is a big barrier, as you know. So good people that we want to bring, they don't speak the language, and it's very hard. So we look for, people in South America or in Mexico, and Mexico is very well known to be a country of a lot of experience in mining. And so this is, somebody who speaks the language, and somebody who has experience in mining. It's, this is what we look for.
Awesome. Awesome.
Engineers. And here in Colombia, to relocate them, we need a visa, and we need a work permit as well. Two different things. Depending on the profession of the person, they need a permit to work here in Colombia.
And those engineerings and those professionals, they come to support you guys on a temporary basis, or they stay on a long term?
We usually long term, like minimum 2 years, 2 to 3 years.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
Awesome. Awesome. And how are the benefits? How you guys attract those professionals to Colombia? I understand that you guys have this process of finding people that speak Spanish and all that, but what is the attraction? How you guys attract those professionals?
Well, let me tell you that it's very easy, because when they come here, they automatically feel in love with Colombia. The weather, the food, the amenities, the kind of services that they can access. They all wanna invest here, or buy properties, or do something here. The only tricky thing is taxes. Taxes in Colombia are high. That's something that is hard. It could be up to 39%. Um, that's like the only thing. But if you think about it, like in Chile, they have high taxes too.
Here in
Um,
Brazil.
yeah. One thing that is hard for us to get people here is that when you get a work visa, the spouses, they are not allowed to work here in Colombia. And that's something that some people, they don't like. Of course, like if you're going to have your spouse sitting, I find that it would have, it's hard. When I moved to Vancouver to Fort Lauderdale, I had the benefit of my husband could work in the States, and that was nice. But if you think about it, for some people it doesn't work. But I find that in the mining industry, a lot of people, they don't move the family. They don't move the family uh, with them, because
Oh,
it's like 2 or 3 years here and there, and you see some people that they are so used to like working in Mexico for maybe 2 years, and they move to Argentina and then Chile, and they don't bring the family. They are just fly in, fly out. Which some people, they enjoy that. Hmm.
so they
But
have as a benefit the possibility to have a flight home like a couple of times during the
yeah.
year.
Yes, yes. Hmm.
So return. So then, am I understanding that return trips are part maybe of a benefit that you might offer to
Yes.
someone?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah, some people, they don't wanna, they don't wanna bring the family, because maybe the kids are in university, or the wife or the husband has a good job that they don't wanna leave it behind. So they just they just do a fly in, fly out, what called FIFO. So that's a big thing for spouses not be able to work here in Colombia. Hmm.
Out of curiosity, how many flights they can have per year?
How many what? Sorry.
How many flights they can have back home in a
Oh,
year?
depending on the, for example, we have, Janina, we have right now, we have trainers for heavy machine operators. What they do is they work 20 days and they go home 10 days. They are
Okay.
usually from Mexico and from Chile. So
Mhm.
this is what they do. It's
Oh,
hard, right?
oh,
And
yeah.
yeah, and some people they have like 30 day or 21 days and 7 rest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Also, what we call here rotators.
Yes.
They
Uh-huh.
stay like 2 years working 20 at home for 10 or something like that.
Yes. Uh-huh. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I have a question. So we're talking kind of about benefits and everything, and I always like to ask and understand what benefits are core benefits. What are benefits that are kind of standard benefits that you might find either in Colombia as a whole, or maybe you can't speak to that, but at your company, what are some benefits that are core? Because when I ask this question, I'm always surprised sometimes at what some people consider core and what some people don't consider core. So I'd love to
Yeah.
understand what are core benefits to you.
Well, a trip here with your family just to get to know Colombia and places to live, schools, all these things. That's important. We have, for example, a housing allowance, which is something that is important. We also provide them for those employees who are not under a fly-in, fly-out. We can provide them 2 flights home per year, so they can go on holidays back home with their families. That's something that is people are very happy to have. What else? Tax equalization. That's something that is very important. We also provide with an expert person who does the filing for the host country and the home country. What else can we say about here in Colombia, for example, having a car as well, a car and mobile is very normal. The company will provide you with a mobile, with a car, and even though for certain positions they will give you a driver, which is very common here as well. And you have this person taking you everywhere, or even your spouse. Yeah. Uh, School allowance for the kids. That's something that is normal for the expats. I used to have it. I used to give it provided in North America, and same here. It's pretty normal. Yeah,
And when you mention about the car, it's just like a plus for them, or it's anything related to security?
it's a tool. If you think about it, it's a tool to work.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yes.
Because they have to go to out of the town,
Yeah.
let's say.
Uh huh. Yes.
Oh, okay, awesome. And you're saying about the schools. Oh, about the schools, I have this question that we have this week when we are talking about Brazil. People were asking about the international schools here in Brazil. How are the international schools in Colombia?
Wow, here there is a big variety of schools. Let me tell you, only here in Medellin we have German schools, we have British schools, we have Canadian schools, um, American schools, pretty much from everywhere, and they are, like they are expensive. They are hard to get in. If you want, you have to, like get into a waiting list to get in.
Yes.
But it's yeah, they have it. They have it here. They
Yeah,
have
you
it.
mentioned that you guys have a lot of expats around. So, and another thing that you mentioned that I was caught my attention. You mentioned that people they fell in love with Colombia and they look for opportunities to uh, buy houses and everything. Is that something that really happens? Part of the relocation, you support them on buying their own places.
No, no, we don't do that.
Oh,
We don't
okay.
do that because yeah, it's gets very complicated. But yeah, we don't support them, but they do it on their own. They go buy cars. It's hard to get a credit here in Colombia. That's another thing. Um,
How that
it's
works?
it's pretty
When you
much.
mean like get a credit. Hey Ben, you are back.
Yeah,
Did you miss me?
I was just like maybe he was like, oh, I know I don't understand Spanish. I'm not getting it.
Yeah, I'm gonna go do something else.
No, he went to ask for a visa for a shoe
That's
shine.
it.
Yeah,
I went to go apply for a visa. That's it. Yep.
yeah.
Actually, I opened up Shoe Shine DSP in Medellin. So I'll send you my new business card, Sylvia.
Okay.
So
Uh,
you were telling about the credit. How what
yeah,
do you mean when you say
pretty
it's
much the
hard?
same like in the States. Like when I moved from Canada to the States, I was nobody in front of the bank. I couldn't even, rent a place in Fort Lauderdale. So the company had to do, like a letter and everything. And it's the same here. It's very hard. So the contracts, we need to do the contracts for the renters between the company and the landlord because a new person who lands here is not easy to get a place. So and getting a credit card, the same is not easy. You need to be here at least for 6 months to build your credit, and it's the same. Like a credit score. It is the same like in the States. So
Wow.
it's a little bit complicated. So they spend like 6 months, even to open a bank account. To go open a bank account here in Colombia, you need a letter
Uh-huh.
from the company that we prepare for them. So they just go and open a bank account because here they will ask you, like that was my first shock when I got here that when I landed, I didn't have a job and I went to the bank to open a bank account and they said, no, what are you going to do with a bank account? And I was like, what do you mean? What do you do
What do
with
you
a
do with the bank account?
yeah, like we just put money and just, like, and they were like, oh, well, where the money coming from? But it's because of the history that Colombia had. That's another thing that in Colombia, you cannot, nobody can be paid in American dollars or
Oh,
overseas. You have to be paid in Colombian pesos. So that's something that some people they don't like some of the expats because of course like they will have to transfer the money to Colombia and buy the dollars and it's complicated. Mhm.
So this is actually a question that came up, and I mean, and I'm sorry, Sylvia. Whenever I think Medellin, I think of the history of Medellin and Pablo Escobar and all this kind of stuff, right? I mean, I'm sorry, that's just what we see in America, right? So Vanessa says, Sylvia, in terms of security, do you feel like an expat going to Medellin in Colombia should have a security training, especially coming from North America?
Yes, I think it's basic because and we do it for our expats here, even if they come from South America or yes, we do it
but
because
what that means, security training.
well, we do like a
Yeah, I
special.
was like
No,
self-defense.
we do like a special, like cultural training about what is, like being safe here in Colombia. Like it's not like you're walking around with your mobile uh, and flashes your phone and having your jewelry on and no, it's you have to be careful with everything.
But
So
that's something that I'm been saying a lot. I think that nowadays you need to be careful anywhere. Doesn't matter in each country. I understand that there are places that are worse than others, but you need to watch out to like about jewelry, cell phones. You will not be like late night just holding your cell phone in a neighborhood that you're not comfortable. I think I don't know if it's really worse there, but I feel that there is no such a place that you can really feel like, okay, here I'm okay. I will leave my cell phone in the table and I will just like go to the restroom and
Ha-
wait.
Yeah, yeah.
Have you been to Canada? Because
No, I haven't.
Canada, Canada, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think so. I don't
Yeah,
know.
no, the thing is that there are many, many people who are very naive, very, very innocent. So they just, like they just think that nothing is going to happen, or they haven't been exposed to another country at all. It's the first assignment that they go, so they don't understand anything. And especially in a new city, as like any other city in different parts of the world, there are different, there are bad areas and good areas. So we tell them, like where to go, how to go, what to do, like what to wear, because that's the thing that's, you see people here walking with sandals and shorts, and you know that they are not from here. And they smell like sunscreen, you know that
They
they
need to
are
wear
not
the
from here.
perfume.
They need some more perfume so they can blend in, right? Um, we've got some fun questions here. Let's see what we got. Let's see. Uh, Carolina says, I agree with Jana. We need to be careful in any big city. Um, Janet says you did a very nice job, and my
Janet.
action. Yep, yep.
Love you, Janet.
Let's see here. Beth says, "Hi everyone. Colombia is on my bucket list."
Mine too.
Janet says, when I was in Colombia and visited the embassy, they gave us a password that the taxi driver had to give us before we could get into the cab. Have you
Oh,
heard of
wow.
this?
Wow, no, never.
Nah, I don't
Yeah.
know.
Wow.
We have a couple of questions here. One is from the name didn't come through, but it says, does the employer provide support on housing?
Yes, yes, I mentioned on that. Yes, we do support them because it's hard to get a housing if you don't have a good credit, if you don't have any credit. So we
Do,
do support.
do you do temp housing as well? Like if somewhere to come, do they maybe get like here in the US, for instance, 30, 60, 90 days sometimes,
Yes.
is common for furnished apartments.
Yeah, this is what we offer, like a month to see, how it goes. If the person needs more time, usually they manage to do it in 1 month. And what we are doing is finding for them furnished accommodation. So we are not bringing all the household goods from other countries. We find that it's very costly, and yeah, it hasn't worked.
The movers, yo, everybody, Jana, where do you find these people? Okay, everybody just comes on and says, nope, not moving stuff. Don't even ask. Here's a bunch of money. Get out of here. We're not moving furniture. I'm like, I see my children starving before my very eyes right now in my brain. I'm just like,
But you know what happened? And that when they leave, when they finish the assignment, they do need a mover because they compile a lot of things.
thank you.
Let me tell you, they buy a lot of things. So they just want, and this is what, when we do a repatriation, we have to find a mover.
Good, good,
Yeah.
good. Thank goodness. I appreciate that. Tell them we're not moving the aguardiente, okay? That's
Oh,
all I
yeah.
got. That's all I got to say about that. There. Let's see. Yeah. So they're warning you, Sylvia. You got to watch Fernando tomorrow because Fernando. I'm surprised he hasn't hopped on here and started telling us about the importance of household goods benefits.
He's just shocked, probably as well.
Yeah, he fell out of his chair. He said we're bringing him to right now. He
What?
sneezed a little bit. Oh, just kidding. We're just having some fun here. But let's see. There was another question actually about the car, kind of along the lines of household goods and shipping. Francine Drusty asked, why is it not typical to bring a car? What's so hard about bringing an automobile?
Well, Colombia has hard legislations on that, so you can't bring a car. You can only bring a car if it's one up to 1 year that you bought it. That's it. If it's an old car, they don't let you. They don't let you bring it because they have their own policies. They want to, they want to sell cars here in Colombia too.
Sure.
So this is what and it's so hard. A lot of paperwork and things that needs to be done. Which I have done it in the States, from the States to Canada, and it's normal. It's not that bad. Even from the East Coast to the West Coast, getting a card is it's not complicated. But here, yeah, and cars here in Colombia are expensive. Let me tell you, are expensive. Pretty much. The same or a little bit more than in the States.
Okay. All right.
I think Janina went to have another visa for a shoe shiner.
Yeah, Jenna, well, you know how these Brazilians are. They just come and go as they please. They're very flexible people. I've learned this about the culture, actually. I'm just kidding. I'm sure she's going to be fine. Her internet's going back out again. She was having problems earlier. Let's see. Lyndon Hotby again says international household goods shipments are so different from domestic. I've seen a trend of international transfers not wanting to move their goods, but haven't seen the same trends domestically in the U.S. Well, good. I'm glad to hear that, Lyndon, that at least the U.S. Folks are still moving household goods here. So let me ask you this. When people move to Colombia, are they renting or are they buying a home?
They are renting. Usually they are renting. Mm-hmm.
And when they rent, are they typically furnished homes or are they unfurnished homes?
They are furnished.
They're furnished.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So really there is no real reason to hey Jana, how are you doing?
I just felt.
Oh, good. Well, sometimes you got to take a call, right? I get it. Silvia said she was getting another visa request for Jana to go be a part of Shoe Shine DSP there in Medellin. Yeah.
I got promoted.
Yeah, and you can fly in and fly out too, so you'll love it.
Ooh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, you'll love it. So Silvia, just to finish the thought though, you're saying that when people come to Colombia, they rent. The homes are usually furnished, which means that's pretty much the reason why household goods aren't necessarily needed either as well, right?
Yeah, well, this is the case of what I have seen typically here. Mm-hmm.
Let's see here. We got some more folks checking in here. Martin Foxwell. Hi, Silvia, fellow mining industry alum here. Do you offer home sale for intra-Colombia or intra-Latam moves? And is that a benefit? And is that benefit generally taxable? Just curious.
Do you offer home sale? No, we don't.
No home sale assistance. Okay.
No. Mm-hmm.
Now, what about the intra-Colombia, right? So what you would consider a domestic move, right? Within, say, maybe Bogota to Medellin or something like that. Do you have these types of moves that come up, and are the policies different than your cross-border?
Yeah, the policy is different, and when they come here, they usually leave the family behind, and because the mine that we have is 3 hours from Medellin. It's 3 hours drive. So some people, they don't, they prefer a fly-in, fly-out. Or if they get a place here, they spend most of the time at the site. So they don't, doesn't make sense, to move the family sometimes, here to Medellin, if you know that you have kids on the school or things like that.
So I gotta ask. So I didn't realize this, but I mean it makes sense now that you said it. The mine site is 3 hours from Medellin. So where are people living when they're working at the mine? I mean, is there a camp? I mean, what is it like?
Yeah, we have camps. Mm-hmm.
That was exactly what I was thinking. I was just like, that's something that is not connected.
Do they have the shoe shines at the camp? I mean, you say they're everywhere, so I'm just testing this theory. Are the shoe shines really everywhere? Okay. No, but I mean, what kind of accommodations are they, like dormitories, or are there apartment buildings, or is it, what is it like to live at a camp at a mine?
They are containers. They are very cool. It's a little container, like a little trailer,
Yeah.
and it has, like your bathroom, and it has a little desk where you can sit, and it has air conditioning. At night, this is cold.
Mhm.
And we also, what we do is we have worked with the community in the little town. It's called Buritica, the town where the mine is. We have worked together with the community, and we have rented rooms from people that they wanna make, like another income. So they prepare, like rooms in their place. They, put a second floor, and so some people they live in Buritica, and other ones they live on the campsite.
So they will go to Colombia and then they will spend the whole time in the I forgot the
I
name,
can't.
The container, yeah,
in the
on the
containers, and then they will return on the weekends, or they will just
yeah.
stay
Some
there and work.
people, some people, depending on the position, they work Monday to Friday. Other ones they work 2010 or 21/7 or 14/7. They have different shifts. hmm So they usually, like they leave the wife and the kids here in Medellin in a nice apartment, and they go and work at the campsite, and then they come here when they can. hmm
I bet those mining camps get. I bet there's some parties out there at the mining camp. I could just see some wild parties going down at the mining camp. I bet there's like guns and booze, and I bet it gets wild out there.
In the beginning, we just brought the attention for the business there. Now we are just calling attention for the families. Like, oh, okay, maybe I'm not going anymore.
I mean, leaving the wife and kids. I'm flying in. I'll see you later. I'm going to the camp,
Yeah,
for 3 weeks.
no, let me tell you that we have a very strict health and safety managers here. So they do alcoholic tests um, suddenly, and drug test too.
Oh wow.
And
Well,
yeah.
well, that sounds fun. Um,
All the
let's see. We got so much for my mining career. Okay. Well, we've got another question here from Martin Foxwell. Yeah, he mentions here camps. Yeah, we had them in Ghana, Peru, Indonesia, remote sites. John knows Ghana.
Yes, I do.
You've got to build
Yeah.
schools, import
Yeah.
teachers sometimes. Are there people that bring the families to the camps and live out there?
No.
Okay.
But some mines they do. Like you can bring your family on the weekend, and they can stay with you on the weekend. But this one, no, it's not. It's not big enough to do it.
Rob corrected me. The party starts when the rotation shift is over. That's when the party starts.
Yeah.
And then Molly brings up a great point here as well. Molly from Jacksonville. Hey, Molly. She says you don't move a car to another country, you become an importer.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
What is I imagine that the tax on top of the shipping, the taxes are very high when you import a car as well.
Yes, yes. This is why I was going to do it when I was going to move from Florida to here, and it was very expensive. And I said no, like plus my car was like 2 years old, so I couldn't do it because, as I said, in Colombia, it's only up until 1 year. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's.
I want to ask you. We're having a little fun here, Sylvia, and you've done mobility for a while. You've done it in different countries, at different companies, and you've probably seen a lot of things. You got any funny stories or anything like that? I mean, people who have been in mobility and relocation long enough usually come across a couple of funny instances or stories. Has anything interesting happened in your years in mobility?
So many things, like so many things that, wow, I have had couples, like calling me separate because, they want to bring certain things. and they don't want the husband to know, or they don't want the wife to know. So they they just call me and ask me in a private you know call if they can bring her or not. Like
What?
some people are
No, I
attached
don't know. What do you mean? What are you talking about?
some people are very attached to certain things, and so they just feel that if they leave them behind, it's like, wow, I am abandoning, like something. But I had a family
Like a
who,
house plant, or like what are we talking about here?
well, it could be like a pool table,
Oh,
or one of these things that guys, they get very attached. Or motorcycle.
okay.
Motorcycle is, like another one, because if you think about it, it's something that you don't need if you have a car, but the guys, like they want to have it. Yeah.
Sure. Makes sense.
I have a family who, when I was that I had to repatriate from Florida to Colombia, and the wife wouldn't leave the states because she didn't have all the permits and everything to get the pet. It was a ferret, relocated to Colombia. In Colombia, there are no ferrets here, and there are no vets for ferrets, and there is no food here for ferrets. But the husband left, and she was behind. She was behind in Florida for about 2 months until she got everything, all the permits and everything to get the ferret here in Colombia.
She
Well,
stayed behind for 2 months to get the
Yeah.
permits for the
Yeah.
ferret.
Yes.
and
She
food,
even,
of course.
she even returned the house and everything, and she was in a hotel for like for more than 10 days at the end, just to make sure that she could take the ferret. And I checked with them a few times, and they are still here in Colombia, and the ferret is alive.
I was going to ask, is the ferret alive? So we've proven that ferrets can survive without veterinary care for 5 years,
Or special
So
food or anything.
without food,
I
without
stayed
veterinary
back.
care.
I stayed back in Florida, and for about like almost a year, I would send ferret food to Colombia.
What they eat?
They spell like the dogs, what the dogs eat, but special for ferret.
Really?
Yes, yes.
Wow.
Oh
I
my
feel bad
gosh.
for.
That's
Yeah.
hilarious. That is great. You
And
hear something new.
the husband would call me and said, Silvia, please help me. And, nothing that I could do, because, she was waiting and patiently waiting for all the vets and everything and all the certificates.
Oh my
Wow.
gosh. Wow,
Oh,
this has been a lot of fun though. I tell you what, I thought I heard everything as a mover, and we've never had a trailing ferret before, so this is a first here.
Yeah.
Wow, this has been great, Sylvia. This has been wonderful. Thank you so much. I appreciate you being here. Is there anything you'd like to leave our audience with? Any final thoughts or final word that you'd like to share with our audience today?
What I would say, like be kind to all the expats, because I think that listen to them and what they need, because it's important, and not only for the employee, for the families as well. Keep that contact with the spouses, because they need them. They need it, and don't think that because you relocate them, you leave them behind, and okay, you're on your own. No, check with them constantly. Try to do activities and things that make them feel comfortable in the new place, and and yeah, the same with the employee. I think that is very important. It's part of
well,
our
that's
jobs, and yeah, we need to do it.
Wonderful advice. Wonderful advice, Sylvia. Thank you so much, and Jana, thank you so much for another wonderful show. A
thank
wonderful
you.
co-host. And thanks for everybody who chimed in and asked questions and played along with some of these silly games that we were playing here. Thank you so much, everybody. This was a lot of fun. And Jana, why don't you talk about tomorrow? What is happening tomorrow on Love and
Oh,
Reload?
yay! Tomorrow is happy hour time. It's Friday, and we love Fridays. So we will have Fernando from NetMove. He's Brazilian, and he will come here with us to try to convince you guys that movers are nice. So please connect with us. Will be fun. Will be exciting, and it's my goodbye time. So please tell your friends, invite everyone, be here with us. Silvia, muchas gracias
Oh,
very much. It was really nice. I truly appreciate it. You're super friendly since the first contact that I had with you. So I really appreciate it. It was really nice to know more about Colombia, and your experience was awesome.
no, I thank you very much for having me on this show. It has been a pleasure, and I am a big fan of you, Ben. So I hear you pretty much every day. If I don't hear you alive, I hear you at night. Just like any other time.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. It means the world to me. Thanks for being with us and sharing your perspective and your story. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Janaina, thank you again. Janet Turner, thank you backstage. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Janet.
Janaina's mom. See you tomorrow. Take care, everybody.
See you. Bye.